Hi, Ree. Welcome to Planet
Hi.
8. Thanks for coming on. We're so happy to have you. How are
Thanks
you
for
today?
having me. I'm super excited I want to hear about Planet 8.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, Planet 8 is a new show that well, not really new. It's old. It used to be done in the 80s and the 90s. But we're reviving it for now because we just think it's quite relevant at this time. I feel like it may have fallen off during the 2000s, but I think it'd be really good to bring it back. Just being an observer and participants of the DJ culture here and the nightlife scene in Atlanta, and the growing nightlife scene, and one that is very much thankful to you and your work, your steadfast, work here in the city. So yeah, Planet Ace to just kind of highlight what's been happening, to kind of bring together the community, to kind of give listeners something new and to kind of like open up this world for them because I feel like it's a very enclosed scene still in a lot of ways where I see a lot of the same people going out sometimes, but with a lot of these new spaces opening up, Pisces being one of them, people are starting to realize that this is a place that they can go out and like, a thing to do in Atlanta. And I feel like Album 88 listeners could get that as well. And it would just breed like a whole new listenership and dancers on the dance floor. So yeah.
Very cool. I'm super excited. I like college radio was like a big thing for me in like high school and college. So I'm glad to hear it's coming back.
Yeah, that's really cool. Where'd you go to college?
I went to West Georgia and Georgia State.
Oh, nice. Were you ever part of Album 88?
No, I wasn't. I was like honestly, when I got into like DJ culture and nightlife was when I dropped out of school. Um, but yeah, no, I wasn't, but I was a listener. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, that's sick. No, like look at you now. So it was a great decision. Um yeah, that's super amazing. Yeah, we're so happy to have you on our first episode as in that sense, sorry. And yeah.
Yeah, really grateful to have you here. And speaking of like that transition from, I guess, Georgia State with the Thurs and going more into the nightlife scene, how would you say DJing began for you, and what was the thing that kind of caught your interest in all of it and led you on that path?
I think it was more just like being a music lover, um, and like going back to that high school, like college time and listening to college radio. Like I always moved every like 2 years my whole life. Like I never went to any school more than 2 years, which turned into me being like a loner, and like music was like kind of my refuge in that. And when we lived in upstate New York and then moving to Georgia, I used to listen to college radio a lot. And then in college, I found like raves and I would like be on AOL Messenger and like meet people and they would invite me to, like Nike Pavilion and all the places we used to have raves in Atlanta. And from there, I was like just super into like dancing. Like I knew who the DJs were and I would listen to like DJ mixes, but I wasn't like, the thought of being a DJ just was like not that was just like it was just only a few people really did that. But yeah, I just always was into going out and dancing and nightlife as a whole. And then I turned into sort of a party promoter. And then one of my DJ friends was like, "Hey, do you want to learn to DJ?" And I was, like, okay. And another friend happened to be selling his record collection and his turntables because he was moving in with a girlfriend. She wanted to get rid of it. So I, bought all that and I just spent a lot of time at home making like really bad noise. And I never thought it wasn't like a goal of mine. It was just something I was doing. And like friends would invite me to like open for them. And I just played for free a lot. Um, and it, you know, it's just one of those things that turned into like getting paid more for it and it building over years. And then I got back into doing parties again. But yeah, that's how I got into it.
Very cool. Very cool. Would you say you prefer DJing or you prefer promoting parties?
Right now I prefer like booking and promoting and like curating things more than DJing. And the only reason why is because like I enjoy the act of being a DJ and DJing more, but I don't have time right now to like look for new music. And like right now is a really exciting time in music and like DJ culture, and there's so much cool stuff. And because I don't
Mhm.
have time to like find it and like, you know, download it and all those things, like I don't have as much fun DJing anymore.
Mhm.
So I just don't find myself enjoying it as much. So I'm not doing it as much as I used to.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because there is a lot of time spent like looking for music and knowing what you want to play out. And I feel like you know, with the opening of your new space and all the other parties that you run, I feel like balancing both would be a hard task. I
Yeah,
hear
and there's so many people that are so good at it and are like so locked in and have that. So like I'd much rather them play than me.
that. Yeah, that's amazing. Let's see. I wanted to start off by like asking you about the early DJ scene in Atlanta, like back when Ponce was really huge and MJQ, for example, was really huge, and you're playing in spaces like that. How would you describe like what it was like back then?
I mean, like when I first started throwing parties, there was like, I mean, there's different scenes, but I guess like the scene that I like that whole Ponce thing, and there was like Lenny's, and I mean, there was only a few places in Atlanta that people really went. It was like MJQ, Lenny's, Astoria. So everyone kind of hung out together. There wasn't like these different like scenes. It was just like everyone together. And it was more of like uh the DJing was more open format, like what people call open format today is not like what I call open format, or a lot of people my age. Like open format to people now is like, oh, I play all kinds of club music. But like open format was like you played everything. Like you were playing like rock and rap and so it was like a lot more of that. But there were only like a handful of DJs. So like when I would book parties, it was just like a few people to choose from, like Presto and Rob Wonder. Like Rob was the one that opened L Bar, which I don't even know if y'all are old enough to know about L Bar. No, that was Ponce. That was part of Ponce. It was where El
Um,
Ponce, the taco place is, the Mexican. It's
oh
under
yeah.
there.
Mhm.
But there was only like, a handful of DJs, and that's who you booked for the parties. Like, and going outside your world to book a DJ was kind of like a weird thing. Like, if we like one time I booked DJ Drama to play at MJQ, and it's just like, whoa, this is crazy because people didn't really like cross-pollinate as much as maybe they do now. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was just different. It was more like you couldn't choose what you wanted. Like now, you can choose if you want to hear techno, you can choose what kind of techno you want to hear on a Friday, Saturday, or I want to hear techno, but you can go to a Latin techno party or a queer or like bros. Like we just have so much to choose from now, which is really cool. Like people complain about Atlanta nightlife, but I've never seen it feel so like healthy and like that you have choices, and there's like such a like DIY scene here that we've had, but I don't think we've had it at so many people participating in it.
That's really cool to hear.
I read up a little bit about Chaka Khan Hacienda and where it's come now, like this past year. But what would you say your relationship to Pullman Yards is? And how would you say Chaka Khan has like left its impact on Atlanta?
Well, we're not at Pullman Yards anymore. We're at Underground. Last year we moved to Underground. And we were so thankful for Pullman Yards when we went there. Because it was kind of like a huge drama of why we left Eight Arm. Not because of Eight Arm, love Eight Arm. But Pullman Yards was like really gracious to let us use the space, and like at the time, everyone at Eight Arm had lost their job. So they let all the Eight Arm Shaka staff come work Shaka at Pullman Yards. Like they didn't have to do that. It was really nice. And yeah, that was really cool. Like I still have my screensaver on my laptop. It's still from like the first Shaka at Pullman Yard because, and I actually had this moment this past weekend, but like when we moved to Pullman Yards, the party kind of blew up. And like I remember that whole night being like, this is fucking crazy. This is crazy. Like just like how big and how like crazy, and like we had DOS, which was super cool. But I had that moment recently at Pisces where it was just like, wow, like this is fucking crazy. Like this is so cool. Like, is this happening? So yeah, that was, Chaka moving to Pullman, and now we're underground. And yeah, no, it's changed a little. The bigger things get, the more people you have to make happy. So the programming has changed a little bit. And honestly, I was just talking to someone today about um like you have the pressure to like kind of like top yourself like when you're doing something. So like the bookings at Chaka have changed a little bit, but I kind of think this year I'm gonna rein it in and kind of focus more on locals because honestly, like the local DJs kill it as much as the DJs we bring from out of town, you know? So yeah, I'm gonna try to like reel it in this year with Shaka and make it a little more focused on regulars and not, worrying so much about like making it bigger than last year. 'Cause yeah, the bigger you make something, the less like the less edgy you can make it because you're having to like make a ton of people happy. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like as a party promoter to be aware of, like, because it's something that you strive for a little bit is to get your parties to be something where like everyone can come and like it becomes like a big thing where people know about it. But then that comes with other people coming in as well who are demanding things from you, and you have to give it to them, and you it takes away, I guess, less of your ideas and your the things that you hold near and dear to you, would you say?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's even why, like with Pisces, like I looked at a lot of spaces and a lot of big spaces, and I knew that like if I was trying to fill up a space with like 500 people a night, that the programming couldn't be as niche, or like certain bookings wouldn't work. But at Pisces, because we're small, even if we do something like the open decks night where maybe there's only like 50 people there, it still feels like a party.
Yeah.
Or with bookings that maybe I would be like scared to do if I knew I had to sell 500 tickets, that it's not as scary if I only have to sell 180, and I can book those like niche artists that it's just like not as scary when you're like, I know that I can find 200 people in this city that want to see this versus 5 or 600. So yeah, smaller is better, and I kind of think smaller is the vibe now. I think that people are kind of like not even really into going like huge festivals with tons of people all over the place and like crazy programming, and also the cost of going to that. Like people don't
Yeah.
really want to spend like $100 on a ticket to go to something, something in more in the 10, 15, 20, $25 range makes more sense for people these days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really true. I mean, as students who like to go out, I feel like we can attest to that. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, like Pisces is such an amazing spot. It's really intimate, and you bring out really niche people, but the people who know about it and they're there and it's a hit. It's something that it's something that, I feel like before it opened, you would never think would come to Atlanta, honestly. Like some of the DJs that you've had come, it's like, wow, I never thought I'd be able to see this person here, but they're coming to my hometown. That's really, it's a crazy feeling, honestly. Um, for me personally, that was Crystal Mess when she came.
Oh my God, that was so cool, right?
That was so cool. That was so cool.
Yeah, and she was so cool and like working with someone like that or like they get it because they most likely they came from the same sort of scene in their city and they fucking get it and it's really cool. But you know how you said like you didn't think that that would something like that would happen in Atlanta. Like my like motto is like we fucking deserve that too. Like when I see things in other cities, I'm like we deserve that. Like we deserve something cute on a Wednesday or like
Mhm.
with AV radio. Like when I was at Lot Radio, it's like dude, like we fucking deserve that. And it's like, like we have enough talented DJs in Atlanta that yeah, we deserve all those things. And like I just feel like if you feel like there's a hole, and especially with parties and making parties, like if you see like a hole in the city for something that you would want to happen that's not happening, just like do it. Like make it happen. That also happened with Shaka. Like Shaka was just, I wanted something on a Sunday because I never get to party with like my DJ friends, my drag queen friends, because we're all working on the weekends. So I was like, I want to make something where we can all party with our bartender friends and like everyone in the service industry. So that's where that came from. But yeah, that's like a huge, I tell people like if you see something missing and you want it happen, even if it's like a sort of food, like then make the pop up, like make it happen.
Amazing. And so that's where Pisces came from as well. I'm assuming is that idea of making it happen where you saw gaps in what Atlanta could be. And that's kind of what I wanted to get into, like how where did the idea for Pisces kind of come from? And not just as a place as well, but also as a concept with food and cocktails and music.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just came from like me wanting to have a space for like me and my other like promoter friends where it doesn't feel so DIY, like, and I mean from like a production perspective of like carrying in speakers, carrying CDJs, carrying in the lights, booking the security, booking the door people, where it's like turnkey. Like now it feels so good that like when a friend of mine does an event and I'm like, all you need to worry about is like what you're gonna play and what you're gonna have to drink. Like you don't have to worry about all like we have it set for you. You don't have to worry about all those things that like it's a lot. It's stressful. And so yeah, it's that and it's that we deserve it, like space. Like we don't like there's so many people like making it happen in Atlanta and it's a lot of work. So I just kind of wanted to make it easier for all of us and that also a space that's like made specifically for DJs and dancing with like the lights and the sound system. And then I love late night food. So, I mean, we haven't opened the upstairs yet, but also just like the late night food. Cause like when I get done DJing, I'm always like, I want to go eat something. That's why I go to Banshee because I have like hot dogs. So the late night food thing, and having something good to eat late night that's not like McDonald's. So yeah, that's like yeah, the reason why. And it's kind of like also I wanted to make a place that people like trust the venue, that, even if you don't know who the DJ is, that you're like, oh, I see they have like a cool girl from Mexico City. I'm sure it's cool, that they kind of like trust. So that's what we're working on now with like the way we're booking things out.
Yeah, and you guys have done a fantastic job. I
Thank you.
mean, towards the end of the year was just heavy hitters after heavy hitters, I would say, and definitely built a lot of trust with not only I feel like us, but a lot of people that we know and around the community. Um, Wonderful, wonderful job with Pisces so
Thank you.
far.
Yeah, no, that's so amazing to hear. That the space itself is just giving back to the community that it serves and like giving us a really secure place to just go. Because I know a lot of promoters have had trouble with like third party security and like not
Security
knowing.
is a huge issue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What was the second part?
Yeah, and just like I know a lot of people just haven't had the best experiences because they don't know these people very well. So the fact that we're like building it up and like making sure that everyone in every place is like someone that we know and someone that we can hold accountable for those things,
Mm.
that's really important for us to have. Um, and yeah, I want to hear a little more about the upstairs space though, because or just the space in general, like how has Soundtable kind of set you up with Pisces and how do they compare as two different spaces?
I mean, I don't want to compare to Sound Table. Like Sound Table, there's so
Since
many things in Atlanta now that came from that like the seed was planted at Sound Table, like Alley Cat and like, Stephon Ringer and Ash Lauren and like a lot of cool stuff. And I mean, even Banshee, like the owners of Banshee, they all work together at Sound Table. So they like I'm not going to try to compare us to Sound Table at all. Um, but yeah, I mean, I worked with, and that's like even goes to like the DIY-ness of like things. Like I worked with like all my friends on Pisces, like the designer we worked with, and it just was like more like an art project than like I won't say more than a business, but yeah, it's just we worked with Pineapple Audio out of Chicago, and they were the first people to bring like void sound systems to the US. And we looked at a lot of different like Function One and Meyer and Dan Lee, and we went with void because like one, well, we like had only had so much money to spend, and I was like wanted to make like the design features super impactful without spending a lot of money. And, the way that the voids look visually just like helped a lot in that. And also, it's like people have a visual to understand like what we're trying to do. Like you see that and like people that know about sound systems are like, okay, like I kind of get what they're trying to do here. And yeah, so we worked with Pineapple Audio. And yeah, also I was like, if we fail, we can sell the sound system, but we can't sell like a beautiful bathroom.
Hmm.
So we went with Void. And yeah, upstairs. So we're actually working on upstairs now, and it's gonna be more like 5 to 10, just like regular like dinner service, but more casual, not like, a dinner, just like a few plates. We have a really cool custom DJ booth being made up there by, again, one of my friends. And we have it set up that like whatever is playing downstairs can play upstairs, but we also can do separate programming upstairs. So I think upstairs will be a little bit more like chill, not like crazy dance party. But yeah, and that should be open the end of February.
Amazing, amazing. Excited for that. I wanted to talk about the mention of your friends and working with your friends and a lot like basically all the projects that you take on and making spaces for your friends and just your community at large. And what does like that mean to you, community and fostering community and having a place to grow your community?
Yeah, well, I mean, just like, and like with me and like my friends, I always like whenever I see like drama going on in the scene, I'm like, guys, we get to like work with our friends and wear whatever we want. And like, express ourselves artistically, and sometimes we make some money doing that. Like, what else is there to be more like thankful for, you know? So I'm like really extremely like proud of and thankful for like my friend group and all the things that we get to do together. But also, I mostly feel thankful for it when I like step outside of my bubble and I realize like all the like things other people have to deal with as far as like I don't know, like sexism and like misogynoir and like all those things that I've created like a world for myself where I don't have to deal with those things or like I strive not to and like having people come into that world and feel that too is like is really nice, I guess. But yeah, as far as like the open decks thing is like a really good thing to bring in now is because the only reason we started the open decks night is because there's like a lot of genres that I wish people played more in Atlanta. And so we were like, let's try to make like community around those genres. So we started, it was jungle and drum and bass specifically that we wanted to like be specific for like selfish reasons because I want to hear it more. But we added other genres. But yeah, we just wanted to, because I mean, not that those genres aren't played in Atlanta, but I feel like those people have not like the younger people haven't connected with it. And so
Yeah.
we like the first one we did, like when I would see like people talking and like sharing phone numbers, I'm like, oh my God, yes, our plan's working, you know? So, and I mean, that's like my favorite thing at AV Radio when there's a crossover from like one DJ shift to the next, and it's people that don't know each other, and you see them like chatting or like high-fiving each other, like they transition or like, I mean, that's like my favorite part about like anything I do is like seeing people connect, like even if it's not like on a, you know, creative level, just like making new friends or like when someone's like, I met my partner at Shaka, like those are the things that like, I don't know, make it worth it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. They those are the moments that we cherish in life is when we connect with others and it's unexpected, you know, and it's like you're coming to have fun, you're coming to play something. And I feel like that's what music does. And
Exactly.
yeah, so it's really cool that you are a facilitator of that and you just get to see that happen in the spaces that you create for people to have that. So
Yeah, and
that's
that's what y'all are doing too, because you guys are doing it in a different way. It's like you guys are connecting people with like sounds they wouldn't be exposed to, and you're connecting them with it for free. And you know what I mean? Like it's not like you don't have to go somewhere. Like just think about like some kid that like lives in Canton, Georgia, that is not exposed to this sort of things, and they can like listen to your radio show now. Like that's really freaking cool, and it's needed.
oh yeah, thank you. Thank you. I feel like I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but
No, yeah. I mean, the sentiment is like very similar to open tables, I would say.
hmm
But speaking of open tables, I do want to hear a little more about it. What can you tell us to expect with open tables in the future? Because I know you just started doing it and we've only had a couple to witness so far, but
hmm
I guess yeah, what can Atlanta expect with open tables?
Yeah, well, we're trying out like, you know, different genres. So this week we had to cancel tonight because of the snow, but we're doing hard groove and then after that UK garage and like there's already some ideas for ones that we want to add, but we might pull one if it's not as like if people aren't participating as much. So just like being really flexible and seeing what people are into. But yeah, it's been super fun and like it's worked really smooth, which I was kind of worried that it was going to be like a hot mess. But like people, I think people are just like really good DJs or they're practicing. Like there's really cool sets. And even like thinking that, oh my God, is it going to be like so, like after an hour, are we going to be so sick of hearing drum and bass? But there's so many the new sound of what drum and bass sounds like, and like it never got boring because everyone had their own take on it. So yeah, I hope it sticks like that. And honestly, the two we done have been like the only two times at Pisces that I like actually just went on this dance floor and like danced and had a good time.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's more
Yeah.
experimental, which I like, and it's free, so it's like people can just like randomly hang out, come and hang out, and not have to worry about like paying to get in. So
Yeah, I think it's really sick. I don't think I've heard of any spaces that I keep up with doing something like this for extended.
there's some more in Atlanta. There are
Oh,
definitely some other ones. I've never been to one, but I've heard of a few others, but it's kind of hard to if you don't have like a brand or something behind it, it's hard to get, people to even find out that it's happening. So,
yeah.
yeah, we've been grateful for everyone that's come. And yeah, I think we're gonna try to do one like a footwork, like Baltimore club sort of. We're gonna try add that one in next month. And I think Baby
Yes.
Spider is gonna host that one.
Oh, no, amazing. Love Baby Spider.
Me
Love
too.
Baltimore Club. That is gonna shake the entire city. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's great. I wanted to talk about Atlanta Pride last year. That was insane.
Did
It
y'all
was
go?
amazing. Yeah, we were there.
Oh, you were there? Oh
Posted
my
up. And it was so much fun. It was so beautiful. Like it was a crying worthy moment,
God.
honestly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you about that. Like the Marta Plaza party at North Ave Station, and
Oh
then
yeah.
the Pride party with Honey Balenciaga and Gorp and a few other folks. Like it was amazing. Like, can you talk about that and how that was for you and just the whole experience, your entire experience with that?
Yeah, well, the MARTA thing was so I was working with Midtown Alliance they have the new stage at that MARTA station, North Ave MARTA station, and they just wanted to activate it. So I was curating that for them. And so, of course, for October, we did Pride. And the MARTA bus thing was like completely separate, but they were debuting it in conjunction with our event. And then our addict, Lisette, who's like also a friend, she had done a bus. So that was like, I did have a crying moment when her bus rolled up. I was just like, oh. But yeah, that was really cool. That was cute. All the performers and Eden did like a really cool photo backdrop. So yeah, that was really that whole like Pride because it was like I was trying to get Pisces open the end of Chaka Khan Hacienda and then Pride the next weekend. So like kind of remembering that everything's kind of like a blur that whole time. So even like when I saw pictures from Pride, I was like, I don't remember that happening at all. Like the whole thing was really a blur and yeah, and like unique. I mean, she is like, I was like, did you go to like training? How did you learn to be so good on the mic and the way she interacts with the crowd? And she's like, that's what Jersey Club DJs do. Like, I learned that being a Jersey Club DJ. And I was like, wow. Like, I thought she went to like LA or something. But no, that was really cool. And I honestly, like, at some points, I thought the whole thing was just gonna fall apart. Like, the Honey Balenciaga thing almost fell apart multiple times. That was really crazy. And then, because yeah, also had an event Friday with Wussy Mag at Underground, and that almost fell apart. So it was just like a really crazy time. But the whole thing with Pride at the park was just, it's really cool because it's like pretty much someone saying, like, hey, we have this budget, we want to do something cool. So I got to do something that like I don't have the budget really to book Honey Balenciaga and Unique and like all my talented friends on one lineup and
Hmm.
not have to worry about ticket sales because it's a free event. Like Atlanta has the only free Pride in the country.
Wow.
So yeah, most of them you have to buy tickets. So we're really lucky in that way.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was really nervous about because it's Shaka, because I knew a lot of people that'd be there are not like Shaka Khan party goers. So I was like worried about the like energy of the stage like transferring to the crowd, like if that would really work, but it seems like it did.
Wow.
And everyone just did a really good job, like Montre, like hosting on the mic and getting people hyped up. So yeah, it was a really cool experience.
Amazing. Yeah, it was a hit. It was a hit, and it was so much fun. Yeah.
And also talking about like bringing your friends in and like getting a really banger lineup together. Do you have any like dream DJs or producers that you want to bring into Atlanta, or has
Oh
that
my
already?
God. Yes, of course. Oh my God, I've been trying to book Yeji for a DJ set for a long time.
Mhm.
But they're like so expensive. There's like, I don't know, LTJ Bukum. He comes to Atlanta, but I would really love to have him at Pisces.
Would be so
Um, and then
sick.
I mean there's also things like, like Jamie X, like stuff like that where like
Um,
I don't, I don't think I'd ever be able to afford that. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. And there's things that like, yeah, just like a lot of stuff that like we had Ling. I don't know if you came to Pisces for that. Um, but she's just like so cool and like that's my favorite thing about like Shaka or Pisces is like being able to like bring people that maybe a lot of people don't know about yet, or they're just like starting to blow up and like getting to have them at Pisces. And like she absolutely smashed it. So yeah, no, I can't really think of anything else. I always wanted to book Azalea Banks, but I know that would be like so much drama. And like now at this point, I don't really want to put any money in her pocket. So I don't think that will happen.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think Yeji would be dope. LTJ Bookham would be so sick. He is such an icon, legend, especially in like he kind of brings like UK garage a bit, drum and bass a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, that would be like good to introduce I think Atlanta to like that sound in conjunction with open tables. But yeah, that's super sick. I can't wait to see the future programming with Pisces and what y'all do with the upstairs patio. And I wanted to ask, is Shaka still going or is like I heard you mention like kind of the end of it.
No, no, no. I mean, every single year I'm like, I'm not doing it again next year. Um, and I don't know, like it used to be every Sunday from like May to October. Like, what is
Wow.
it? Like how many? It was so much.
Hmm.
And then like it went when we moved to Pullman, it moved to like 5 times. And last year we did four. This year, I don't know. I'm still gonna do it, but I don't know how many. And like right now, like if anyone really brings it up, I'm like, I don't want to talk about it yet. Like I don't want to think about it. So yeah, no, it's definitely not done. I just like I don't know, it's just like it's just hard to like make it feel it's just so big that it's hard to make it feel special when you have so many of them. And like I don't like to do anything if it doesn't feel special. Like I like my rules for things is like easy and special. Like if it's by easy, I mean like really how Shaka used to be that like you could just like you like rolled out of bed and you wore whatever and you didn't brush your teeth, you met your friends for brunch and they're like, let's pop by. And you're like, yeah, like it's easy. And like, that's how I want Pisces to feel too. Like, I don't want people to ever feel like they're like underdressed for it or it's not for me, you know? So easy and then special is like when you make it, it feels like a little different, like not like mainstream. It feels a little cool. So yeah, it's just hard to do that with Shaka because it's so big now. So yeah, just trying to figure out. even thinking about if we did the Pride thing again this year, I'm like, man, how would I book that to make it feel like Honey Balenciaga was just like so so iconic that it's like, how do we make it feel special? But that's what I try to do with, I don't, I probably say no to more opportunities and I say yes because I don't like want to just throw a party just to throw a party. I want it to feel like something people I would be excited to go to. So yeah, it's just trying to find that balance, especially with Pisces being open so many days a week, like, trying to not make it like just be redundant.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. Well, that's amazing. And yeah, looking forward to that. And take your time, one thing at a time also. And when it comes easy and it comes special, I think we'll 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 all be ready to have a good time. Yeah.
I want to ask about your show. So wait, what do you guys give any sort of parameters to the DJs or what do you tell them about the show when they're thinking about doing their sets?
The only sort of parameters we have is the cuss words for FCC and legal purposes. And yeah, so we just try to let them know to make sure that they have their songs cleaned. But other than that, there's really no parameters with what we tell DJs that they can and cannot do. Um it's a because we want it to be a space where, people can come and like just play what they want to play and show up how they want to show up and expose even the different types of DJs that there are in Atlanta to the airwaves because um, the DJ scene within the station is relatively non-existent. Honestly, like we have a lot of specialty shows that focus on a lot of different genres, um, but but like no one in the scene or in the station other than me and Rina are like in the scene. And then Rina came and started Nerd Tech, which is their show on Thursdays from 7 to 9. And they play like all types of club music and electronic music.
Oh,
And
really? I want to hear.
it's really great. It's really amazing. And that's the only thing like that we have on the station and on the airways right now. And I think one of the only things we've had since 30, 40 years ago. Um, and now I just feel like the scene is so different from that time. It's been such a long time. And like I said earlier, I just feel like it's the DJ scene and DJ culture and nightlife culture here is something so special. It's something growing. Like how you said, it's at this point where it's just like there's so much that you can tap into and there's so much to discover that I feel like highlighting that on a platform where we highlight music and we highlight everything music, not just local bands because we do like Album 88 is very tapped into the local band scene, I
Mhm.
will say. And that's something that we've been doing for like such a long time, but that's because a lot of people in the station are in that scene and they go to those shows and they talk to locals and they conduct interviews with locals. And I just think that, I see the DJ scene as something that runs very much in conjunction and very much deserves to be highlighted at the same time as local shows and local bands are as well because it's all music, and they all
Yeah.
deserve to be on the same platform. And Planet A was an idea that I had had for about a year after my program director told me about it, like just in passing. He was like, "Oh yeah, like this used to happen. I don't know if you know about that." And I was like, "What? Like, wait,
Bring
when
it
did
back.
that happen?" No, seriously. And I was like, "That is such a cool idea for a show." And I love the name too, like Planet 8. It's
It's so good. Yeah.
so mysterious. I love it. So it's like I don't know. I've been having that idea, but taking on that job alone, solo. And since me and Rena have been working together, I realized I could not do it.
Mm.
Like just doing school and I also have like a long-time part-time job. So it's like doing it with someone else who's like equally as interested, equally as invested has been really amazing. And I'm like super excited to finally kick it off the ground and to just see where we can go with it. And DJs have been so receptive. Like we've
Hmm.
had no one say no
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
everyone we've asked has been like, yeah, of course, like I'll be down to do that. And
Yes. Did you
it's
think it would be
something.
different? It's so
No.
cool.
We just didn't know what to expect, I guess. Like, so yeah, I think I'm just really excited to see how people receive it and, how DJs feel being on air, how just how this show can just be added to the program and for Album 88 to be seen. Like we're growing already. We've been growing steadily since I think the pandemic's like ended around 2021. So I think adding this feature and this segment to it is really exciting, and I feel like it just helps the station to flourish as much as it can and it's capable of.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of the kickoff for this. I
No,
think
thank
that,
you.
like you said, it's really needed. And like I think last summer I went on like a 6 week, 6 city or 8 city, I can't remember. And like when I went to every city, I kind of was like trying to tap in to find like the sort of nightlife that I enjoy. And like Atlanta and New York are like not the only, but like New York and Atlanta has like so many black and brown people participating in like club culture that we both have these like scenes that a lot of cities don't have. They might have like one night or something, one night a month or a few things, but like the scene that we have here is like really freaking cool, and it just needs more platforms for people to find out about it, or like even in a certain way like legitimatize it, that like, oh, people, I heard them on, Planet 8, or I saw them at Pisces. It kind of legitimizes people, or maybe just gives that artist confidence to like keep doing what they're doing and like go like represent Atlanta globally, like we have really cool people like Leonce and Ash Lauren that are like really repping for us. So like let's just make more of those people.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. I agree with everything you said. Yeah. And I think it's just it'll be cool to let people know that this is happening here, and like to give DJs, like you said, that confidence to be like, yeah, okay, I can go out and do this. And something that we want to do is, work with the local scene, like the spaces in Atlanta, like Pisces, like Banshee Late Night, like all those spaces, to even promote stuff that's happening right after our show. Because I think that's really why we picked that time slot to be like, oh, did you hear this? There's more happening later tonight. You can catch them at these places. You can catch other people like them at these places. And I just think it'd be really, really great to get more dancers on the dance floor, for
Yeah.
people to come out of their homes and, they hear music, they're listening to it in their room during our show, and they're like, wow, I would really love to go somewhere and like, meet other people who are into the same kind of music, or really like honor or just like honor this need of mine to just go out and dance and just find other people who look like me on the dance floor, even on the DJ stage. So it's like, Atlanta is so rich in culture. And I think um, we just need to keep pushing and getting ourselves out there and creating the spaces that we look at other places like New York or like Toronto and that they have and be like, well, yeah, we can have that too, like you said, and doing that and cultivating that for ourselves. So yeah, we'd love to continue working with you. If
Yeah,
you
I'd love, maybe you guys could do
uh,
like some programming at AV Radio when we reopen, or at Pisces. I would be totally into that.
yeah, that would be so sick. So sick. Thank you, Ree.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for doing
you.
this.
No, of course, thank you
Yes,
for having us, and
thank
thank you for
you.
being on here.
All
Yeah.
right, cool. I can't
Great.
wait to hear Nolan's set. Is he before or after me?
Probably after.
Probably after. Yeah, I think we're gonna air you first, and then Nolan's gonna spin after. And I
Okay.
think it's
I'm
really cool.
excited for Nolan's set. Cool, cool.
Yeah, because he DJ'd at the open tables for drum and
He,
bass night.
yeah, he did with Matrix. They were both So good. I told you that's the only night of Pisces that I dance.
That you did.
Yes.
You need to get out on the dance floor more and behind
Yeah.
the boss activities, but I feel you. There's lots to be done. But yeah, congratulations and keep up the amazing work.
Same to you. Congratulations and keep it up and let's stay connected.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. Thank you, Ree.
Bye.
Have a great
Bye.
night.
You too.